They said I was wasting time, that I was always the dreamer, the artsy one, the sensitive one, the one who'd grow out of it. They clapped the loudest when she got her new car, a red Civic, shiny, bow on top. I smiled, clapped too, quietly. They told everyone she earned it. No one asked what I was building, but I kept building, in silence, in rooms no one walked into. While they posed with the keys, I was signing papers of my own, a different kind of ownership. It wasn't about the car. It never was. My name is Rachel Morgan, I'm 27, and I live in Boulder, Colorado. This is the story of how being overlooked became the best thing that ever happened to me. I was supposed to be the golden one. On a roll since 5th grade. Debate team captain. Early admission to UCLA's pre-law program. Everyone thought I'd be the first in the family to make it big. I used to believe that too. Structure, ambition, neat little boxes, I checked them all. My dad, Greg Morgan, always said, "You get one shot. Don't waste it on dreams. Go where the money is." My mom, Linda, was softer, but I could still hear it in her tone. Pride when she introduced me, like I was a trophy on loan. And then there was Emily, my younger sister. Bubbly, beautiful, never on time, but always adored. She took creative writing at a community college and changed majors 4 times. Still, somehow, she never had to explain herself, never had to prove her worth. The fall wasn't a moment. It was slow erosion. It started in junior year. My chest would tighten during lectures. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, couldn't fake it anymore. I told my advisor I needed a break. I told my parents at dinner. Forks paused midair. Just a break. Are you okay? You've always been so strong. And then silence. After a week, no one asked about it again. The calls slowed. The respect cooled. They didn't know what to say anymore. So they said nothing. When I moved back to Boulder, I worked night shifts at a bookstore. Wore hoodies to avoid running into people from high school. The whispers were everywhere. She dropped out, right? Just needed time, I think. No. She's probably just figuring stuff out. The worst part? They weren't cruel. They were just disappointed. Then came the day they bought Emily the car. Mom called me casually that afternoon. Guess what we did today? We surprised your sister. She's got her first real job, so we thought she needed reliable wheels. Real job. Reliable wheels. The way she said it, it was like Emily had won something. Like she'd crossed some finish line. And I hadn't even started running. I hung up and stared at the ceiling of my tiny apartment. I remember whispering to myself, "You're not angry. You're invisible." That was the night I opened my laptop and typed 3 words into a search bar. How to start something. It started with Craigslist. Of all places. A blurry post that read, "Looking for someone to teach my mom how to use FaceTime. $20 per hour. Must be patient." I laughed at first, but I clicked it. Sent a reply that night. The woman's name was Nancy Carter, 74, widow, former nurse. Her daughter Jillian had just had a baby in Michigan, her first grandchild, and Nancy had never held a smartphone. I drove to her house on the east side of town. The place smelled like cinnamon and slow-cooked guilt. She opened the door and squinted. "You're not what I expected. Thought you'd be older." I smiled. Me too. We sat at her dining table, a floral tablecloth between us. She pulled out her phone like it was ticking. "This machine hates me," she muttered. It took 90 minutes. She fumbled. I guided. Her fingers trembled, not from age, from fear. But then the screen lit up, and her daughter's face filled it. Nancy gasped, covered her mouth. Then came a baby's cry through the speaker. Tears rolled down Nancy's face like it wasn't just video, it was resurrection. "You brought my baby into my living room," she whispered. That moment split something inside me. Like I had tapped into a current I didn't know existed. I walked out with $20 and a feeling that didn't have a name yet. The next week, Jillian called and asked, "Would you be willing to help 2 of my mom's friends too?" Then it became 5. Then 10. Then I made a free Google form called Silver Sessions. I never called it a business. It felt too small for that. too soft. But it was growing one grandmother, one iPad at a time. And every time I helped someone press the call button, it felt like I was dialing back into myself too. Like I was reconnected to something more human than ambition ever was. I wasn't famous. I wasn't loud. But in homes across Boulder, I mattered. It didn't make headlines, but it mattered. Within a year, Silver Sessions had a waiting list. I built a basic website on Wix. Spent $13 on a domain name, silversofscience.org. It wasn't flashy, but it worked. I automated scheduling with Calendly. Started offering weekend webinars, Smartphones 101, Email Basics, How to Spot a Scam. I charged $5 per session. Attendance tripled in 2 months. Then came Tommy Lawson, a 76-year-old retired engineer with Parkinson's. He used to design systems for NASA. Now he couldn't remember how to unmute a Zoom call. I worked with him for weeks. Patient, gentle, always starting from where he was, not where the world expected him to be. One day, he told me, I used to build machines that went to the moon. Now, I can call my granddaughter and tell her I'm proud of her. I wrote that down, word for word, framed it above my desk. Soon after, a local senior center reached out. They'd heard about what I was doing, offered me a small grant to train volunteers. By the end of the second year, we were onboarding 1,200 seniors a month. Sessions ran in 4 states. I had 7 part-time instructors, all of them college students or underemployed teachers. People like me. People who had once felt invisible. Our average email open rate was 78%, higher than some Fortune 500 companies. But none of this was making the rounds at my family's dinner table. At Thanksgiving, I told my mom we'd just signed a partnership with the state's Office on Aging. She blinked twice and asked, "So, is this your full-time thing now?" At Christmas, Emily arrived in her new car. Red. Still spotless. Leather seats. Bluetooth stereo. Dad said I should get something dependable before winter, she chirped. I mean, I am driving to a real job every day. Then she looked at me and added, but you're still doing, like, your little tech help stuff, right? Little tech help stuff. I wanted to scream, to lay it all out, the impact, the data, the stories. But instead, I just said, yeah, something like that. It's strange. You can be thriving in the world and still feel like a ghost at your own family gathering. While Emily talked about her office snacks and her commute, I refreshed my dashboard on my phone. Silver Sessions, 4,003 users active this month. But no one toasted to that. One night, I stayed up late designing new branding. Dark green and soft blue. Calming. Trustworthy. I created a new tagline. Connection is not a luxury. It's a right. The next day, I signed my LLC paperwork. Bank account. EIN. Company email. Everything. It was official. But I didn't tell anyone. I just bought myself a cupcake. Stuck a candle in it. Lit it. Happy first company to me. No photos. No ribbon. Just one whisper in the dark. You did this. It happened on a Tuesday. Not a holiday. Not a milestone. Just one of those regular days that sneaks up on you with something unforgettable. I was at a networking brunch in Denver. Not really my scene, crowded, loud, too many buzzwords thrown around like confetti. But I had been invited by Jared, one of my old instructors turned friend, who believed Silver Sessions was ready for a bigger spotlight. So I went, wore my one nice blazer, tucked my business cards in my coat pocket just in case. The room buzzed with conversations about funding rounds and exit strategies. I stood by the coffee table, waiting for a socially acceptable excuse to leave. Then I heard someone behind me say, I just want to meet the person who created Silver Sessions. That platform saved my dad. I froze, turned slowly. A tall guy in a gray sweater and glasses. Polished. Friendly. Nervous. Like the memory he was carrying still made his voice shake. He was talking to a group of 3. None of them were me. But I listened. Every word a pin dropping into the timeline of my life. My dad had early Alzheimer's. We were losing him. But someone signed him up for these tech sessions. I didn't think it would matter, But one day, he FaceTimed me.
Clear-eyed. Calm.
Said, "Hey, bud. Just wanted to hear your voice while I still know it's you." The group fell silent. That was the last full sentence he ever said to me. I felt it in my chest, like a knock from the inside out. I reached out to the platform after he passed, he continued. No one replied. But I just wanted to say thank you. Whoever built that, they gave me something I'll never forget. And then someone in the group said, "Wait, isn't that Rachel? Isn't she the founder?" All eyes turned toward me. My throat tightened. I smiled politely.
Yeah,
I started it. His eyes widened. You're the reason I got that call from my dad? I nodded once. Didn't say much. I didn't need to. The emotion in his face filled the space I didn't know was waiting to be acknowledged. He stepped forward and hugged me.
Tight. Real.
Not performative. You didn't just make a platform, he whispered. You made a memory that'll outlive my father. I didn't cry. Not then. Not in the room full of strangers. But I felt something shift. Not in the world, but in me. For once, someone recognized me for the thing I'd poured my soul into. Not because I bragged. Not because I begged for attention. But because the truth walked in by itself and refused to stay quiet. The next time I visited home, it was different. No fireworks. No apologies. But something had shifted in the air. Mom had set the table early. There were 3 candles burning instead of 1. She looked up from the salad and said, I printed one of your flyers. Put it up at the rec center. Then she added, they said a few people already signed up. She didn't say she was proud, but she didn't have to. Later that night, Dad sat beside me on the porch. He didn't talk much, never did. Just handed me an envelope. Inside was a check for $500. For your company, he said. You always had that look in your eye. Same one your granddad had when he opened his first shop. I didn't cash it. Still haven't. It's framed on my wall. Emily didn't say much either. But one afternoon, she messaged me on Instagram. No emojis. Just, hey, can I talk to you about a project idea? I think you'd get it. I stared at it for a while. Not because it was groundbreaking, but because it was the first time she looked at me like someone who could build something. I didn't respond right away. I didn't need to. I realized then, I no longer needed their validation to believe in my own path. The cupcake, the EIN, the Zoom calls with seniors fumbling with buttons. It was all real. And it was mine. It wasn't pride. It was peace. I didn't print the letter my mom later wrote. I just kept it. Not because I needed a reminder, but because sometimes silence needs a paper trail. Now, when I speak about what I do, I don't shrink. I don't pad it in disclaimers or deflections. I'm the founder of Silver Sessions, I say. We help seniors stay human in a world that's forgotten how. And every time I say it, I feel like the girl who once typed how to start something would be proud of the woman who never stopped. If you've ever felt like the background character in your own family, like your wins were whispers and their applause had selective hearing, then this story, it's for you. You don't need the ribbon. You don't need the audience. You don't even need the car. What you need is time, space, and just enough defiance to keep going quietly when no one claps. Because some victories don't make noise when they arrive. They just change you, from the inside out. So, if you're building something that no one understands yet, keep building. If you're walking a path they call unrealistic, keep walking. One day, the silence will break. And someone will say, wait, that's you? And you'll smile, knowing the answer has always been yes. Tell me, where are you watching from? What are you quietly building that deserves to be seen? Drop your story in the comments. Not for likes, but because someone else might need to hear it right now. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And thank you for making quiet victories feel loud again. More real stories soon. Until then, stay bold, stay soft, and stay building.